evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's installment of the SRW TV DSL Welding Services 360 Sprint Cars. This week we are coming to you live from Limaland Motorpark in Midwest Ohio. This track is a 400-meter quarter-mile, fairly level track by USA standards, not very much banking at all. And one of the main characteristics of this track, and we're going to see it play out here tonight, a very wide track for the length that it has. We're going to see multiple race lines being taken by all the guys here. I'm just jumping in on practice, most of them running sort of low 11s. So certainly a lot of pace to be had out there in the early stages. This track characterized, there's generally 4 lines. You can keep it tight on the tires, you can run the middle, you can run the top, or you can run from the outside down and out. So we will jump on board for one of the drivers. We'll see where they're at. So we'll just find a driver on the track and we'll jump in their cockpit. So we ride on board here with Justin Wright. And we'll pull up Pete Jones. Looks like he's backed out of that one. And the other trick here with this track too, very unusual hit entry and exit, not that we'll be using it. So Pete Jones here, we see he's running that outside inline. So he's right up on the fence, clips the tyres in the middle of the corner, and then swings it back out to the fence. So that's that's probably the fastest approach in this early stage, I personally feel, running that outside in. As the race, Braden Miller rather. As the race progresses, we're going to see drivers slowly slide out. Track's going to get really slick in the middle, and it works in a groove down the bottom. So we're going to see them switch from the higher side of the track down to the bottom, and then again back up to the top as the race, or as the main feature rather, comes to an end. A couple of new guys in the race this week. One of the SRW, or the SRW head RC, Stefan McCartan, jumping in for a go. Pretty tidy in the dirt, particularly in the sprint car. He's probably not going to be running right at the top, but he'll certainly be competitive, sort of maybe in that, say, top 5 to 10. We have 13, 14, 15, 16 cars in the service so far. The usual suspects, Brett Hobbs, Blaine Delaney, Justin Wright, Braden Miller, Nick Ryan, Tony Walsh, Jason Burke, missing Blake Walsh, last week's race winner and previous podium holder throughout the earlier rounds. A couple of other guys missing as well. Obviously last week's winners on a bit of a part-time schedule, so we won't see them here this week. So it does open up some opportunities for some of these other guys to come through, take the race win, get the podium. So very interesting how this one will play out. This track does encourage, as I've said, multiple race lines, really good passing opportunities. It is quite a tight track, but the width of it does counteract that a little bit and let drivers carry a lot of speed through these corners as we ride with Braden Miller completing his qualifying laps. Of course, the drivers have 5 minutes to qualify or 3 completed laps. Brett Hobbs currently leading with an 11.2. No, sorry, that was his last lap. His best lap was an 11.5. So the top 3 cars currently, Brett Hobbs, Nick Ryan, Brett Wheeler, all running 11.15s. So they are down to the thousandths of a second, which just goes to show on a small track like this how close racing can be. Braden Miller there makes his way back into the pit lane. Jason Crawford's just finished his final laps. Brett Hobbs is sitting on the pit exit. Looks like he may have one more to go. I think Brett Hobbs might be the only one still to do a run. So we're just waiting to see. So Craig Platter had a disconnect as the server went live, so he's just jumping on now. Bit of upload packet loss for him as the two heats of 8 cars. It's always nice when it works out with even numbers. So heat 1, we'll see Brett Hobbs on the pole, Brett Wheeler on the outside. In 3rd place, Jason Crawford. 4th, Braden Miller. 5th, Peter Jones. 6th, Stephen McCartan. 8th, Michael Locke. And rounding out the first heat will be Brad O'Brien. So 2 heats of 8 cars. This will determine their starting order for the final 30-lap feature. Again, as we've mentioned already, shorter track here, only a quarter mile. Fairly flat, however, it does bank ever so slightly right up on the edges. You'll see the grooves start to form on this track as the racing progresses, and you'll see a few defined lines as these guys work it in a little bit. Yeah, we've had this issue. SDK seems to be just lagging a little bit with driver names. So I will try and keep you as best informed as possible off my live timing screen. You probably won't be able to see it on the stream there, as you see the live timing little pop up there on the top left. It just doesn't want to play ball. Warren and Brown Tools, of course, our round sponsor, as the pace truck heads in, and it is the outside line there of Nick Ryan in the 98 car trying to make it work. Brett Hobbs has a pretty poor start, really. Makes himself vulnerable to Brett Wheeler as well, up high in the 56, who finds himself in the lead up here in the early stages, running on that high side, working it in off the fence. Most of the guys running sort of in the middle. Nick Ryan again in the middle, Brett Hobbs in the middle. Brett Wheeler, the only one running really high, moves down the track a little bit to defend, as Nick Ryan had a pretty good run on him there. As we see Nick Ryan now sliding down the bottom, he's going to work his way up to that fence. If he can make that move happen. At the moment, I don't think there's quite enough grip on the track to get the drive off that tighter line. Jason Crawford there in the background as well, currently running, or he just got past, sorry. No, he just got past Brett Hobbs, and Brett Hobbs got him right back. So Jason Crawford running in 4th. Pete Jones back there in 5th. Stephen McCartan down in 6th. Michael Locke rounding out the field in 8th position. But it's all Brett Wheeler up the front, leading this one with a certain amount of dominance. Brett Hobbs now trying to make the bottom work as well, but most of the field finding it comfortable. The top just staying off the fence, couple of bumps here and there, nothing too major, as we ride on board with our race leader Brett Wheeler. Oh, there's a camera at the back of the car there. Check out that angle. See how close they're getting to the fence. A few sparks flying here and there as well. And that will conclude the race. Brett Wheeler followed by Braden Miller. Jason Crawford coming home, Brett Hobbs coming home in 3rd. Jason Crawford 4th. McCartan and just restarting SDK, folks. So I've just lost my screen for a second. So in Heat 2, we have Nick Ryan on the pole. In 2nd, Blaine Densley. 3rd will be Justin Wright. 4th will be Nathan Allen. 5th, Tony Walsh. 6th, Jason Burke. 7th is Cowie. And rounding up the field, Craig Platter, who due to some connection issues there, failed to set a time in qualifying. So potentially one to watch there is Craig Platter. Finished 3rd last week, I want to say. Definitely on the podium. Pretty sure it was 3rd. So he will be one to watch coming through this field in this heat, trying to improve his starting position for the feature. Going to be a pretty short broadcast tonight. Giving us 2 heats. We've had 3 or 4 heats in previous weeks with some bigger numbers. So the pace truck pulls in, and it'll be Blaine Densley on the outside, Nick Ryan on the inside line, waiting for the start, and it looks as though that was very, very risky from Blaine Densley up the outside. Looked like he was almost triggering himself a black flag there, but running very high up the track seems to be the way to go. Nathan Allen in third place. We see him running that high line, and instantly Densley goes low, trying to make a move work, just not quite able to get the drive off the corner. So again, we see them all switching up high, trying to get drive off that cushion, pushing it further and further up. That's where the speed is at the moment. The track not really slicking in too much through the heat races. I think we'll see that a little bit later on once all the cars are on the track. But driving away with it is Ryan at the moment. Andrew Cowie there in the background bumps the fence down the back straight. Of course, one thing we haven't mentioned yet here at Limaland is the tyres on the inside. Not that they're running there at the moment, but when you do run that low line, if you can pick the tyres and hit that left, front left on that tyre just enough, you can run a pretty consistent line through the corner there. As we see some lap traffic already in this heat race, as Justin Wright goes a lap down. Nick Ryan puts a big slide job up there on the lap traffic as Jason Burke comes in. Bit of contact there with Blaine Densley as well. On Jason Burke there, lap traffic coming through. Nick Ryan just catches the fence up on the high side. Lets Blaine catch up a little bit. Seems to be running that top line a bit more consistently. Certainly closing in, but run out of laps. As the checkered flag comes up, it will be Nick Ryan, followed by Blaine Densley. Nathan Carter coming home third. Craig Platter improves up into fourth. Tony Walsh, Cowie, and Braden Miller just right last. Alrighty, so SDK looks like it's going to start working for us. Yeah, Cowie, Jason Burke, and Justin Wright bringing home the rear of Heat 2. So we have a 3-minute warm-up on track now. Again, not too much has probably changed since those first heat drivers have been out. Great helicopter shot there of this little venue, of course owned by a University of Northwest Ohio. On the grounds of the university, they offer a scholarship program for dirt drivers, as well as a pretty cool hangout spot on a Friday night for the students, where they do most of the racing, largely club level stuff. Not too many big World of Outlaws events or anything like that. They tend to run the UMP modifieds, 360 sprints, and sort of your more stock car classes. But certainly I certainly would have been down to have a dirt track at my university. I'd have spent far too many times and far too many tanks of petrol spinning around here. So a minute 45 left in the warm-up. We've got 14 of the 15 cars on track right now. And again, just trying to find a bit of room, a couple of little bits of contact here and there. But they're going to be trying out that bottom line, seeing if they can get that slide job to work for them. We see already here a number of cars testing out the bottom, just trying to get the speed, trying to get the drive. We jump on with Justin Wright. You really do drive the cars around this track with your right foot rather than your steering. The steering, you can kind of see, they just sort of kick it in, they hold it, and control that throttle to get around the corner. As the track starts to slick off, you'll see them run a bit more flat to the floor. If the guys up high aren't doing that already. You're starting to see that slick work in as Brett Wheeler takes a ride up the fence and finds a few rolls as well. What a spectacular crash that was. Thankfully done in the warm-up, and the guys get just a little bit silly now, I think. Carrying it on, half the field ending up in the pit lane as a result of that one. So a few of them involved there in that little incident. Braden Miller here on screen seems to be carrying a lot of pace. He's running that sort of mid-low line, sliding it right out to the fence on exit, and what that's allowing him to do is transition almost instantly into the next corner. We see there, runs high, cuts down, slides it right up, and by the time he's got up to full throttle, he's already turning back into the next corner. So yeah, as the race starts, I think that's going to be where you'll find the most speed. Obviously you'll need to be getting around to the cars, but that does conclude the warm-up session. Drivers just finishing their final laps now. I think the race director just telling them not to repeat that little bit of carnage that we saw in the practice. So we run through the DSL Welding 360 Sprint Cars round 5 grid. Brett Wheeler starts on the pole, Nick Ryan in second, Braden Miller third, Blaine Densley fourth, Brett Hobbs in fifth, Nathan Allen in sixth, Jason Crawford seventh, Craig Platter eighth, Pete Jones ninth, Tony Walsh 10th, Stephen McCartan Crisscross Racing 11th, Andrew Cowie Performance Sim Racing in 12th, Michael Locke down there in 13th. Next screen, please. No, SDK not going to give us the next one. There we go. Righty ho. Michael Locke 13th, Jason Burke 14th, Brad O'Brien, no, not racing, Justin Wright, sorry, in 16th position, or 15th position, sorry. So yeah, 15 cars on the grid here at Limaland Motorsports Park, and we will go to the green. The lights come up, and Brett Wheeler there holding up the field a little bit as the pace truck pulls in, pushes them right up to the high side, and we're about to go green any second now. There's the green flag, delays the field just a second. Barney up the top there, excellent flag waving as always. Bit of contact on the fence there up on the high side, but it seems like they all get through. Already we're 3 wide through the corner. Nathan Allen finds himself in the middle, further back in the pack, manages to slip up and find a bit of space, but again 3 wide on the exit of the corners. Huge commitment down there in the mid-pack. Brett Wheeler's had a great jump though. He's given himself a bit of space. Braden Miller finds himself up in position, up high. He's hit the fence off the exit of 4, and he's collected traffic on the way down as we're watching Brett Wheeler there pull off a huge lead as a result of that incident. Who did I say that was? Brett Wheeler. So I think Brett Wheeler started that, coming off the back of 4, his right rear. Oh, Braden Miller, sorry. So we jump to the DSL Welding Services replay. We see him there running that high line, and he's running very high indeed. This is the corner before, I believe. So we'll see the run down the back straight, down the home straight, sorry. Oh, it's coming out at 2. Yeah, he's just clipped the wall there, and then he's found himself in the track entrance. Come down the track, he's caught 3 or 4 cars in the process. So Craig Platter has given himself a DNF. He's pulled out of the race. So he will slip down. It'll be an end-of-line penalty for Braden Miller if he hasn't got one already, I would think. I think he's found his way to the back of the grid anyway. He would know he was the sole cause of that one, yeah, so he's given him, doesn't need to wait for the race control, he's done it all himself. So the restart already, and Brett Wheeler goes early. You see that high line, a little bit loose there, guys, trying to find their grip. The 21, no it's not, it's 27, sorry, of Blaine Densley, trying to make it work. He's getting pushed higher and higher up the track as they go 3 wide once more through this very wide track. 3 wide again, coming into the corner. Blaine Densley finding himself right up on top. Brett Hobbs gets the job done in the 64 over Densley, slides up into 3rd place. Densley again now vulnerable to, I think that's McCartan, as the yellow's been thrown. Not quite sure what the cause is. I'll see if Toddy can find that in the production booth. So Jason Crawford seems to be the one with the incident points, and then just come over comp saying, yeah, sorry guys, that was on me. So riding on with targeting for Jason Crawford there. Just, yeah, nothing too serious. Oh no, he's collected a car on the way through. So just got a little bit too high, over-rotated the car. And who was the unlucky victim in all of that? Tony Walsh and Jason Burke got collected. Was it Tony Walsh upside down there? 76, yeah. So yeah, Tony Walsh upside down. That is his race over. So we grid up Yeah, those two down the bottom as well. Pretty light impact from those two. They'll be able to carry on with not too much damage. Jason Crawford there, just over-rotating the car. We go green once more. Brett Wheeler ducks down to the inside a little bit. Gets a great jump on the field. Brett Hobbs holds the inside line over Pete Jones. And it looks like he's making it stick, but Pete Jones has got some speed up high. Blaine Densley there in the background also trying to make the high side work as Pete Jones dives down to the inside now, changing it around. Nathan Allen finds himself with a bit of free track there in behind. Stephen McCartan up 5 positions, the big mover so far. Currently running in 6th place. Oh, Pete Jones also up 5 actually, I should say. Up 7 now as he puts a big slide job onto Hobbs. Gets 3 wide, bit of contact there. So that was Pete Jones made contact on the inside with Brett Hobbs. Bounced off Brett Hobbs and slid up. Where was I? Yes, Pete Jones makes contact with Brett Hobbs on the inside of him, bounces up the track and collects Densley. Densley ends up in the fence, and it looks like McCartan there was a bit of a passenger in that incident in the 51 Napa car. So we jump on with Densley. We see Pete Jones, the yellow car there, down the inside, makes the slide job on Brett Hobbs. And you see that contact there. You see the green car on the left screen. Brett Hobbs gets unsettled. Pete Jones in the middle. And Densley binned up into the fence. So a bit of misfortune there for Densley. Race control has thrown the yellow, of course, a manual yellow. So we'll have a review of that incident, I think. Pete Jones definitely the cause, though, from where we're sitting here. The promo department safety car, of course, the truck here on the dirt. The GT4 BMW doesn't quite have enough traction to lead the field around on the dirt oval. So they're stacked up 2 wide again. We are expecting the green this time by. The pace truck pulls in to the pit lane. And it will be Brett Wheeler once again to lead the field off the restart. Pete Jones given the end-of-line penalty there by the race director in the background. So they've extended caution by 1 lap just to issue that penalty, of course. Gives Pete Jones time to slip back through the field. So where are we now as SDK just kind of works out what's going on. Brett Hobbs up 3 positions, as is Nathan Allen. Stephen McCartan now finds himself in 4th after that incident. Up 7 positions. Justin Wright up 8 positions down in 8th position. So we jump on with Stephen McCartan. A bit slow off the restart. Blaine Densley definitely got the inside move as Brett Hobbs gets caught up in a bit of contact with, looked like Nathan Allen. I think it was on the inside there. Stefan has to check up high. Nathan Allen does move up into 2nd off that little indiscretion. Brett Hobbs finds himself back down in 4th. Stefan just struggling a little bit to keep the car pointed straight off the cushion. Makes himself a little bit vulnerable time-wise to the guys behind, especially a guy talented as Brett Hobbs. He's going to pull that gap right up. Nick Ryan further down the pack. He's making up his positions that he lost. He's just put one over on Jason Burke. He's now up into 6th and chasing down McCartan. However, he's found himself in the fence there. And Justin Wright running down the inside of Nick Ryan now, trying to make that move work in the 74 car, trying to pull a slide job there, pushes him a little bit high up the track, gets the job done. Great pass there from Jason Burke in the 74. Back up towards the front, we've got Blaine Densley all over the back of Nathan Allen. Brett Hobbs there also in the mix. Running on the high side, Blaine Densley trying to run the bottom. You see the track now really starting to slick up. Blaine Densley throwing it deep into that inside groove. You can almost see like the inside cushion there forming on the track at the bottom of the slick. Brett Hobbs has great speed up around the top though, keeping it well pointed. Sort of gets in front on the timing line, but then loses a bit of time throwing it into the corner. We see there he gets the job done on Densley, and Densley's going to follow him up high. Justin Wright running down the middle of the track, down towards the back. Pete Jones moving up through the field once again. He's back up into 8th now from 11th after just a few laps. I'll just open up my lap counter to see where we are up to, because I haven't done it yet. Where are we? 14 laps, so we're halfway through this race. Brett Wheeler is in the lead and he's pulling out quite a bit of a gap there. We see Pete Jones on screen really getting that high side to work, and no, there's no safety car, that's not right. GSO Welding Services Championship back up on screen, there we go. Caught me off guard there for a second, Toddy. Pete Jones running in the middle, really chasing down the field. He is currently looking for Crawford and Burke, who are having a great battle up ahead of them. But still, it's Brett Hobbs, Blaine Densley and Stefan McCartan now on the back of them as well for the battle for third, fourth and fifth. And Densley slaps the wall in front of McCartan as we ride on board the 51 Napa car. Jump up to the chopper to get a good look of Stefan trying to work the inside line, not quite getting the same amount of drive coming down the bottom as Densley and Hobbs running up high. Looks as though Densley's kind of just slapping the fence a little bit there, leaving the door open for McCartan to make a move if he can find that drive off the middle. Whoa, as we see Densley cut in front of him. Huge moment there for McCartan. And Densley finds himself sliding into the pits, so he'll more than likely find himself off the lead lap there. Will continue to go green. He's pulled himself out of the race, but seems. Has he exited the car? No, he's rejoined the track, it seems. But he will be a couple of laps down. So great drive there from McCartan. Here I was saying he'd be somewhere in the middle. He's currently up in fourth place now. What the? Has Nathan Allen just like appeared on the timing screen in a second? What's happened there? Oh yeah, no, so he's made a couple of big moves there, has Nathan Allen. Come out of nowhere really while we were watching somebody else. He's worked his way up into second, the white flag comes out. I must be watching this slightly. That's a bit bizarre, what? Okay, well when I looked... Okay, I must have been No, that's the race over. I must have been looking at a different driver. I must have been looking at a driver off lead lap when I looked at how many laps they'd done. Well, that was a bit of an odd call from me. That was my bad, guys. I do apologise. So, the race result, Brett Wheeler takes home first, followed by Nathan Allen. Great drive there at the end, making up 4 positions from his start. Brett Hobbs comes home on the podium in third. Stefan McCartan just missing out in fourth. Up 7 positions though. Great drive from him in the 51 Napa Crisscross Racing entry. Justin Burke in the 74 car. We saw some pretty good moves from him as well. Trying to get that middle line to work. Coming home 5th. Jason Crawford holds off Pete Jones in 7th. Nick Ryan, again another driver who found himself towards the back in a bit of a recovery drive. Pulls it back up into 8th. Justin Wright home in 9th. Michael Locke 10th. Andrew Cowie coming home in 11th. Blaine Densley after that incident there where he found himself sandwiched in the wall. Finishing 12th. Braden Miller 13th. Tony Welsh 14th. And Craig Platter there, that first lap incident sees him, or second lap incident rather I should say, 28 laps down and DNF'd. So great racing there tonight. It was sort of to be expected from this track. It definitely does encourage competitive racing, multiple lines to be had, multiple opportunities, and we've really seen some pretty good passing. We've seen, as I mentioned right at the top, there's 4 distinct lines around Limaland Motorsport Park, and yeah, it's been a very short race, you know, as is expected when you're doing you know, 11 and a half, 12 second laps. But a very entertaining 30 laps here from our drivers tonight. Just waiting for them to slip into the green room. We'll pull them in for a quick interview. Do we have any already there and waiting? Alrighty. Brett Hobbs, 3rd place tonight, mate. How was that one for you?
Yeah, it was interesting one. It was a bit happening, but yeah, it was good fun in the end, I think. Yeah, it was just sort of, yeah, it was pretty hard to run. Like, I mean, the top and that, it's pretty tricky. I just sort of struggle at the top of the track, and that's where the pace is, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Limaland, I talked about it a bit before. kind of has 4 distinct lines, really. You can run outside in, you can run the tyres, or you can run up high. And certainly pace to be had everywhere, but it seemed the high line was the fastest if you could keep it up there.
Yeah, you just got to get everything right to go quick there, and I think that's what separates probably, you know, the really good guys to the guys that are sort of just struggling a bit, and yeah, you just got to keep working on it till you can knock it down. So
yeah, definitely. We saw yourself in a couple of 3-wide battles there. Everybody fighting for position, obviously. You know, how was the racecraft from the other guys around you today?
yeah, it was really good. Like, yeah, you don't mind our guys put it in, and you know, they're the race, and I'm there the race, and I just got to, you know, you take a tap and you got to fight back, and that's what I sort of had to do, and yeah, sort of fought back, and yeah, we got a little bit bent up there, and it was a bit of a handful of the car, but sort of as the race went on, it sort of got more comfortable, and yeah, sort of, you know, raced it out, and that was fine. So
yeah, definitely, mate. Hey, look, I'll give you a moment to thank your sponsors.
yeah, it was sort of like just Hobbs, Trenchant and Bohr, and Blano, who was in the race, 27 Design. Yeah, beat the dark, all my teammates and that. So yeah, it's good. That's about it. And 81 Racing. Thanks, mate.
Yes, sweet as, no issues, mate. Another great podium from yourself, and we'll see you again next week. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for putting it on.
Not a problem. Alrighty, we will pull in second place Nathan Allen now. Nathan, how are we? Second place tonight. Talk us through it, mate.
Hey boys, that was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talk us through the last sort of maybe 5 or 6 laps. We were sort of watching the battle there between McCartan and Hobbs, and then all of a sudden you just appeared on the timing screen out of nowhere in second place. What happened there, mate?
I don't know. I sort of after that last restart, I was in third and made a little bit of contact with Brent Hobbs there, and just got into second. And thought if I hold the top, I'll sort of keep this. If Blaine didn't get a good run or anything, and yeah, just kept powering it out through the top, and I saw they were coming, but yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, certainly we're sort of busy watching the battles there, and sort of just watching the replay there now. Had a little bit of contact you mentioned there with Hobbs to jump up through, so that was potentially the pass, I think. What was I saying? Yeah, Brett was sort of saying the high line was a bit slippery and a bit hard to run, but you obviously found a bit of rhythm up there.
Yeah, it was really throttle management really helped up there. You just couldn't go into it flat footed or anything. It was basically back it off and then just half to 3/4 throttle coming around, and yeah, managing a wheel spin on the exit. And then. I just didn't have anything for Mr. Wheeler up the front there. He was just gone constantly. That would happen.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Good insight to those trying to learn the sprint car as well as the track slicks off. It is more about your throttle management than your steering inputs and keeping that grip under control.
Yeah, most definitely. I had a bent front end. I got crashed into someone early on. Yeah, the front end was a bit bent, but I just had to use the throttle more to get the car to turn, and once the car was turning, got the car turned, just manage it. And yeah, it's definitely once the track slicks off like that, and especially a small track like Limaland, it's throttle management in the slick.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Oh well, congratulations on your second place. Have you got anything, any sponsors you need to thank tonight, mate?
Yeah, I've got Velocity Sim Lab and the guys there, Steve, Dylan, Matty Gerard and all that. Got Origin Digital Designs, JS Sim Shots, Here to Race YouTube channel, Speech House, and my family. Again, well, this is the second podium for me tonight, this week, so it's been pretty good actually.
Yeah, carrying good form then, mate. We'll no doubt see you again a little bit later on in the week, and of course back in the sprint car next Tuesday as well.
Well, most definitely, I love my sprint cars.
Good to hear, mate. Alrighty, and we will move on to our race winner, Brett Wheeler, or is he the dude that doesn't have... Yep, no, he's here. Brett, how are we, mate? First place, congratulations. Talk us through the race.
Yeah, thanks. It was, I was just sort of keeping sort of three-quarter throttle through the 3, 1 and 2. Again, I probably tried 4 different lines throughout that whole race in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 we just sort of pinned it up on the boards until we got to that last lap where we had 3 lappers, and I figured we had such a big enough lead we probably didn't need to push the issue on the top side, so that was all good overall. Overall a good night.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Good to hear you talk about those 4 race lines too. It kind of validates that I sort of know what I'm talking about, because I mentioned the 4 race lines here at Limaland right from the top of the broadcast and how these drivers tackle it. So good to hear you sort of reconfirm my theory there. And yeah, we sort of talked to the others and they sort of said the high line was a bit slippery, but if you could make it work, it was the fastest way around. And as you said there, managing the middle. And I think the restart's pretty much the key for you, really. You had, well, pretty much a clear run the whole way through.
Yeah, look, I think the top was the way to go in 3 and 4. 1 and 2 was, yeah, a little tricky, like I said earlier. You know, I was running 4 different lines at the start of the feature race. Before the first yellow come out, you know, I ran right along the bottom where the inside tyres are, then yellow come out, and I sort of moved up to sort of mid-track, and again just stayed there until the next yellow come out. Once the next yellow come out, I was sort of 3/4 way up the racetrack, just below the marbles and below the slick, and then probably the last sort of 8-10 laps, I was sort of chopping and changing between the top in 1 and 2, and then again sort of through the middle of 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 never changed. But it was yeah, once those restarts, they were sort of crucial. You had to sort of to get away from the field earlier on in the night in the heat race. You know, I had some company with Braden Miller, I think it was, who was sort of putting pressure on me on the bottom. But I mean, overall, the track played out nice, and you know, the lap cars did what you want to do when you're a leader, and they just hold their line. That's all you can ask for. You know, you don't want to move it. You don't want to tell them to move out of the way, because I believe that's, you know, you should never ask a lap car to move out of the way. So, you know, everyone done a job in holding their line. So, you know, props to those guys.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Certainly some better racecraft. Not so much better racecraft. We had pretty good racecraft right the way through, but you know, the incidents tonight have been, you know, genuine incidents, nothing too serious. And you know, when I think it was Pete Jones there, sort of put it in a bit too deep. He was the first one to put his hand up and say, "Hey, look, sorry boys, that one was on me." Hey mate, congratulations winning here at Limaland. Have you got any sponsors you need to thank tonight?
Yeah, obviously start off with, you know, DSL Welding, everything they do for the Sim Racing World. You guys at Sim Racing World for putting on the broadcast. I know everyone behind the scenes puts in a massive effort, not only for this series, but you know, other series throughout the week, whether it's Porsche or, you know, all the other cars that, you know, you run, and trucks and stuff like that. So, yeah, massive effort to you guys for coming out night in and night out. Obviously Racecraft Simulations as well for their support with SRW. But all the guys at Black Diamond Motorsport, Momentum Sim Sports, Speed Shop 51 Ultimate Dirt TV. Got to give a shout out to Nick Linnet Racing Association. It makes me look good with this painted up looking hot rod. It hasn't been used a whole lot over the past sort of 6 or 7 months, and Nick, J-Dub, and Platty for giving me a spot after he sort of crashed out early on in that feature.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And you mentioned Racecraft there. For our viewers watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe onto YouTube. Make sure your YouTube account is public. We do have a few substantial giveaways coming up in association with Racecraft over the next little while. So if you're not already, jump onto the srw.tv YouTube channel, click subscribe, and you are already in the draw for these competitions we have coming up. I don't know how much more I can say on that, but you definitely want to be involved in it. Once again, Brett Wheeler, congratulations on your race win tonight. That does conclude the broadcast. Once again, the grid for the top 4 or 5 for you: Brett Wheeler first, Nathan Allen second, Brett Hobbs third, McCartan fourth, Jason Burke fifth, Crawford sixth, Pete Jones seventh, Nick Ryan eighth, Justin Wright ninth, and Michael Locke 10th. That does bring to an end our broadcast tonight. We will see you all again next week to do it all again in the DSL Welding Services 360 Sprint Cars. I have been Brendan, and I've had Tidy Up in production helping me out. And it's a goodbye for now, and we'll see you all again later.